hope lives. Always. Even when we don't know the source of that hope. The fact that we are living in this pandemic led me very early on, and I spoke about this at the very beginning, to start ringing our church bell every day, just to remind the community and the city that hope was real, that God was still present, that love still exists, and that church is still happening, even if it's happening differently. I've been ringing and ringing and ringing. And it reminded me of this story. Here at First Baptist Church, we have a tradition that when someone dies and we have their memorial service here, that some families decide to ring the church bell once for every year that someone lived. You can see that sometimes that means we end up ringing the bell a lot. We've had a number of people in our church live well over 100 years old. And so we'll be ringing the bell again and again and again, trying not to lose count. And it was after one of these services where someone rang the bell for every year that their loved one lived, that I get a phone call a few days later from another minister in town who'd had a particularly difficult week. And that minister asked me, he said, what was going on the other day? It's like I was really struggling, and then all of a sudden I hear church bells, and they don't stop. Like, what were you guys doing? And I told him that it was this tradition that we hold sometimes to care for family members. And he said, that was probably a very important moment for that family. He says, but it was a really important moment for me. And I had no idea that was a part of a funeral. But it really brought me hope, and it brought me joy, and it brought me back down to center when I was really struggling. That's what I hope today, not just for you, but for myself as well, as we continue again and again, day after day, living into this craziness and weirdness and trauma, grieving, all of those things, that maybe somewhere out there we'll hear some bells that remind us that hope is real. Because hope lives always.